Good morning, dear third year students, and let us start today with the online classes. So, the very first poem which we are going to do today is Ulysses. And in first year and second year, you must have been well versed with the basics of English literature. For example, the history of English literature, the figures of speech. So, here with this poem, we are going to introduce a new type of poetry, that is dramatic monologue. Now, what is a dramatic monologue? Dramatic monologue is a type of poem which, whenever the speaker speaks, he speaks in a single manner. There is a difference between soliloquy and a dramatic monologue. The similarity between dramatic monologue and soliloquy is that both are speeches spoken by a single person. But there is a difference. A soliloquy is spoken when the speaker is all alone, but the dramatic monologue, in a dramatic monologue, there is a presence of a silent listener. Now, how do we know that there is a silent listener who is listening to this monologue? By the reactions of the speaker. So, this poem is by Alfred Lord Tennyson, and the name of the poem is Ulysses. Uh, Alfred Lord Tennyson is a major representative Victorian poet, and his poems reflect the intellectual current of that time, and his poems also reflect the dissatisfaction of that time, inaction of that time. So, in this poem, Ulysses, he is talking about a restless person. Ulysses is a person who was very, very adventurous when he was young. Whenever he used to set off for his journey, he was very happy and very satisfied with his sailors. So, the aim of his life has now become adventure, seeking pleasure out of adventure. He does not like to become old from within. He does not like to stay back at home. He loves adventures. He loves to take risks. So, Ulysses is the king of Ithaca, and now because he is old, he is sitting in his kingdom, and presently he is sitting at the seashore, and he is remembering his old days when he used to go on a sea voyage with his sailors, and he used to be very, very happy and satisfied with his adventurous life. But now, because he is old, his body is not so much strong that he can go again on a voyage. So, this poem reflects his frustration, reflects his love for journey, love for adventure in life. So, let us begin with the poem. Ulysses. It little profits that an idle king, by this still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I met and dole unequal laws into a savage race, that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. Now, he says it little profits that an idle king. He calls himself an idle king. He is a king, but he is idle. Why idle? Because now he has no work. For him, ruling a kingdom is no work, but going on an adventure is a work. So he says it little profits. He is not satisfied with his life, with his retired life. He says there is no profit in such life where I am sitting idle. Though I am a king, but I am sitting idly. By this still hearth. Hearth means fireplace. Still hearth. Now this fireplace is no more burning, but it is still. Now here it is a metaphor, it is a symbol also when he says that the hearth of his hearth of his enthusiasm, hearth of his energy is now still. As the flames of the hearth are still, so he says the energy from my heart, my enthusiasm, the feeling of enthusiasm is now still. among these barren crags. Now he is sitting on a seashore and he says that these crags are barren. Now this is also a very good example of objective correlative. What is objective correlative? It is also a figure of speech in which a person correlates his feelings with the objects outside. For example, if you are sad, you say the sky is grey today because you are relating the greyness of the sky with the greyness of your mood. So this is called objective correlative. By this still hurt by these barren crags. Crags means stones. So he says, I am sitting by these barren crags with no vegetation on it. So my life has also become still and barren. Now notice the adjective between them. Match it with an aged wife. He says, my wife is also aged now. So she is aged and even I have become aged. I met and dole unequal laws to a savage race. Unequal laws to a savage race means now my people, the people of my country, they are a savage. They need to be ruled. But I am not interested in ruling them. That hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. This says that these are a common sort of people. They believe in hoarding things, they believe in sleeping, and they believe in feeding themselves. For example, we have heard eating, drinking, and being merry. So it says that these people are very, very common people. They don't believe in any sort of adventure. So, and they know not me. Why they don't know him? Because throughout his life, he has been absent from his kingdom. He has been on a journey, a voyage. So he says that I am not interested in these people, and these people are a common mass of people who are only interested in eating, drinking, and hoarding, and sleeping, and feeding themselves, but they know not me. Now, know not me here has double meaning. Know not me, first of all, because I have been out. Many of them, they don't know me. The newer generation, they don't know me. And another thing is that they don't know me as an adventurer. They just know me as a king. They don't know the feeling hidden in my heart that I am an adventure lover person. I cannot rest from travel. Now he says that the real me is that of a restless person. He says that I cannot rest from travel. I cannot keep myself away from travel because traveling is my life. I will drink life to the lees. Now for him, drinking life means living the life to its utmost. So he says to the lees. I want to live my life to the last drop of my energy. And for him, life is not ruling a kingdom. Life is not ruling public who just sleeps and feeds itself and takes rest and hoards money. But he says, for me, life is traveling. For me, life is adventure. So he says, I will drink life to the lees. I want to live life to the last drop of my energy. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly. Now he says that being on a sea journey has not been a very safe thing for me. I have enjoyed and I have suffered greatly. Suffered means I have faced challenges also. I have faced a lot of problems in my life also. So he says, all times I have enjoyed. I have enjoyed both sort of times. Whether I was at risk or whether I was enjoying greatly, have suffered greatly. And I have suffered a lot. Naturally, when you go on an adventure, there is a lot of risk, there is a lot of challenge. So he says, I have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. I have enjoyed my life and I have suffered also. And I have enjoyed and suffered alone also, and I have enjoyed and suffered with those sailors who were always by my side on my voyage. on shore, and when through the scudding drifts the rainy haze vexed the dim sea. And I have lived and suffered on shore, and I have lived and suffered when I was in the middle of the sea, when I was surrounded by perils, when I was surrounded by a lot of challenges. Rainy haze vexed the dim sea. So when there were heavy rains in between the sea journey, vexed the dim sea. Now, when there are rains, heavy rainfall in the sea, what happens? The view becomes dim due to the rainfall. So, again he says, I am become a name. And become a name means with him the name of a voyager, name of the adventurer has been associated since a long time. Why? Because people know that Ulysses is an adventure lover person. So I have become a name. This name of adventurer has been attached with me. For means because, always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen or known. Hungry heart means with a desire to learn more and more, with a desire to know, the hunger for knowledge, the hunger for adventure. So he says, always roaming. I have always been roaming in my life with a hungry heart. Hungry heart means a strong desire in my heart to know. So whenever you go on a journey, what do you come to know? What do you come across? Much have I seen and known. Naturally, a person who travels a lot, he learns a lot. He experiences a lot. He knows a lot. So he says, much have I seen and known. I have seen a lot and I have known a lot. So what has he seen and known? Cities of men. He has seen a lot of cities, different sort of cities. And manners. Manners means the manner of living, culture. Whenever we move from one state to another, we come across different cultures, different person, different habits. So in the same way he says, I have come to know a lot of cities, a lot of men and manners, climates. So he has seen all sorts of varied climates. He has seen the poles. He has also seen hot climate. He has seen extreme cold climate, extreme moist climate, and councils. Councils means I have seen a lot of thoughts, the process of thoughts. Governments. I have also seen a lot of governments. I have seen democracy, I have seen autocracy, I have seen republics. Myself not least, but honored of them all. Myself not least means I have known all these countries and places and men and manners and governments, and I have also known myself. Why? Because when we experience a lot while traveling and journeying, we come to know ourselves also. But honored of them all. I was honored by all these people. Wherever I went, in whatever climate I went, I was honored and respected by all the people, and drunk delight of battle with my peers. Now all these years have not just passed in a very smooth and peaceful manner. I have also faced wars and battles. So he says, drunk delight of battle with my peers. Peers means my companions. And you see, he speaks of battle in a very positive manner. He says, drunk delight of battle. Even the sea battle. There are pirates on the ocean also. So he says, I have drunk delight. I have also enjoyed the battle, drunk the delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. Now, he has also participated in the famous 7 years war of Troy. So he says, I have enjoyed battling also. I am a part of all that I have met, and he has become an inseparable part of all the things, all the people, all the places he has met. Yet all experience is an arch wherethrough gleams that untraveled world. But he says, I have met a lot of people, I have went through a lot of countries, but all these things do not satisfy me fully. It is just an arch. In the whole circle, it is just a part of the circle. Much I still need to know, much I still need to experience and travel. So he says, yet all experience is an arch. It is a small portion, okay, wherethrough gleams the untraveled world. Much is left. The untraveled world is far wider than the small traveled world. So he says there is much to travel, much to know. So he says, whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. Margin fades forever and ever means whenever I move farther, new destinations are seen. Whenever I achieve one destination, another destination is achieved. So students, this is a long poem, and tomorrow we will continue with the same poem. Thank you.